government's official position is not to speculate on this subject. We can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream. I'm your host, Ryan Sprague, the host of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. And we have a fun show for you tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's so good of you to stop by. We hope you enjoy what we're doing tonight and what we try to do every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UK time. And that is to break down the latest UFO news and just have a conversation about UFOs, UAP, all these books you see behind me. This has been my life for so long, so long, as I know it has for many of you out there as well. And we just try to have fun, break it all down in a digestible way, sometimes have fun with it while also taking it seriously, and just try to gain insight on what the hell is going on in our skies and beyond. But hello to all of our regulars out there as well. It is so good to have you guys here. I see you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. If you're watching us over on Twitch, welcome as well. And if you're watching us on Twitter, doing a little experiment tonight. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Join us. The water is warm. We would love for you guys to come on over to the YouTube version of the live stream where you can interact in our live chat. And it's just a lot more fun over here with all of our regulars and stuff. So why not go from Twitter, head on over to the Ryan Sprague YouTube channel right now and join us over there. And yeah, we'll probably put that up a few times tonight. If you're catching us over on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Like I said, we have a really good time. We have a really good time here. What I want to do before we get to the latest UFO news is, where are you guys from? I always like to ask that every now and again. Where are you from? Suzanne, our incredible moderator, and I were talking off air before we got on here about the temperature right now, and I had the I had the audacity to complain about the heat here in Scotland, knowing full well it was at least 30 degrees hotter where she was. So, where are you coming from? It is so hot here today for Scotland standards. But I like to know. I'd like to know, how is your summer going? It's officially summer. It is officially summer. I rarely wear just short sleeves on on uh on these live streams, but I couldn't do it. I had a long sleeve shirt on and I sat down, I started, getting everything ready for tonight, and I was just dying. So yeah. Busting out the guns tonight, baby. Pit stains already. That ain't good. That ain't good. Where? I sorry, I'm missing these. We got Fontana, California. That's so cool. Donegal, Ireland. Awesome. Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. It's too damn hot. J. Allen Heineken says. I'm an Australian living in northern Germany, Dalen. I love it. So humid there. So humid, I hear. Wow. Johnston, Pennsylvania, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Oof. Oof. Hello to Michael Huntington. Beautiful Virginia. Donnie Falls is joining us from. See if I forgot anyone here. Omaha, Nebraska. Welcome, Lucy. Thank you for being here. Miss the Sisters, Gareth says. Wow, I can't even say it. Sisters. There we go. We missed you too, buddy. Thanks for being here. Hello to Kurt and everyone else. Windy, Denmark, Edith. London, UK for Gareth as well. Oregon, awesome. Sacramento, California, Richard. Hello, guys. Hello. Okay. Let's start with something that has to do with the podcast. I need your guys' help. I need your help. When do I not need your help? I always need your help. You guys keep me going. And you can keep the podcast going. If you listen to the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, which this live stream will eventually be on this upcoming Wednesday, we do put the audio version out for all of our podcast listeners. I need your ratings and reviews over on Apple Podcasts. We are slowly climbing the ranks over there on Apple, but I want to get up there. I want to get up there with the heavy hitters. So help a brother out. If you haven't already, head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating and review if you think we deserve it. Be honest. Give us an honest review. But here's a couple of our 5-star reviews I wanted to read out to you guys, and I will read your rating and reviews on the upcoming live streams, just like I am today. Andrew Stockton says, keeps me updated on UFO news and sightings. I like the slightly skeptical take on the topic. 5 stars. Thank you so much, Andrew. We have Orxa, Aussie, and UFOs, who says, I've been listening for years and now it's I've been listening for years now and it's great. I love the sightings and stories. If something is going on in the UFO world, Ryan will be the one to tell you. This is a must listen. 5 stars. That is extremely kind. Thank you for being a loyal listener for so long. I truly do appreciate that. And last but not least, Alan Garrow says, reminds me of Jim Harold's Paranormal Podcast. Well-produced and engaging interviews. Highly recommended. 5 stars. That is, to compare me to Jim Harold. Wow. Thank you, Alan. That is very kind words. Jim is a big hero of mine, one of my biggest inspirations, and really got me into the podcasting world. So thank you. Thank you to the 3 of these people for the 5-star ratings and reviews. If you would like yours read on the show, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review that will bump us up and possibly get us featured. When you go to Apple Podcasts, we will be one of the first things to show up for you when it comes to UFO podcasting. So there you go. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Joseph is joining us from Bonnie, Scotland. Hello, my neighbor. It's good to see you here. Okay. Oh, one more thing, guys. Tonight, we start our official fundraising campaign for Anomicon 2025. Now, you'll notice on YouTube, we have a goal tonight of 10 super chats. That's 10 super chats of any value. It can be $1 up to whatever, $100, whatever you want to give. We need your help in funding Anomicon. Now, we do pay our speakers. We also have to buy extra storage for the live streams that sometimes go 12 hours a day. All of our art and our videos and everything we pay for. I truly believe in the value of independent artists, and that's why I hire artists to do all of our artwork, all of our music, our videos, our animations, design our website, and everything in between. And I also believe in paying our speakers. So if you can, tonight, we are going to try to reach a goal of 10 super chats of any kind. And that's the goal. If you want to help fund our free conference that'll be coming to you September 20th, Anomicon, you can help right now. We will be doing this up until Anomicon as well. So, yeah, super chat, super stickers will be open all night. We will highlight your comments as well with those. And if you have any questions for me, like an ask me anything sort of question, put it in a super chat. I'll be sure to get it. And you will also be helping to support Anomicon 2025, our free virtual conference that happens right here on YouTube. And it will be taking place September 20th. I will tease some of the speakers later on in the show for you guys as well. Okay. That's going to do it for begging for money and begging for ratings and reviews. Let's start with the latest UFO news. And this one popped up literally 5 minutes before we went on the air here. At least it popped up for me. This happened this past Wednesday, actually, in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, we don't have a ton of info about it, but this is a pretty compelling UFO video. Now, we used to play videos on the show, and let's be honest, videos are very hard to wade through the muck. And yeah, it was just kind of, a waste of time because we could either debunk them pretty quickly or there was no source for the video. But that changes with this video I'm about to show you guys. So go ahead and take a look at this interesting news segment out of Boston, Massachusetts, where a woman caught something descending from the skies in her backyard. This is a little freaky. All right, so give this a watch, and yeah, we'll see if we can. Maybe you guys have an answer for this. I sure as heck don't, but it is interesting nonetheless. Okay, so let's give this a watch. Let me find it for you here. Here we go.
I'm Boston 25 News reporter Alyssa Azara in Pembroke, where a woman says she was enjoying the pool Wednesday night when she saw a strangely shaped and unfamiliar object falling from the sky just over there. The whole thing now caught on video.
Then I look up here to the sky, I see something falling down, so I pulled out my phone and I zoomed in, and it was right about there.
Colleen McCormick was out by her hot tub around 9 Wednesday night when she says she saw something strange and unfamiliar up above.
I see something falling down from the sky. It had blinking lights and looked like it was on fire or something. And it was just coming down really fast. I had no idea what it could have been.
McCormick captured this 8-second video from her backyard showing an unidentified object headed straight down.
There's 3 things, so it looks like it's fire or a big light.
Expecting to hear a loud boom of some sort, she ran to the front of her home to hopefully capture the landing.
My heart was pounding because I just looked up. I'm oh God, what is about to happen right now?
But McCormick says the blinking object quickly vanished from her view.
It seemed like it was coming down so fast. It was just it knows what it's doing. It just goes like that. I don't know. It's weird.
With having never seen something like it before, McCormick's mind went racing.
I thought it was some explosive. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not the only one that saw this. I'm not going crazy. I didn't see things, but I got it on video, so I'm I did definitely see something.
Now, the FAA was not able to comment on the video McCormick took, but they said they did not get any reports of debris in the area. Both Pembroke Fire and police said the same thing. On scene in Pembroke, Alyssa Azara for your local station, Boston 25 News.
Wow. What the heck was that? Crazy. They contacted the FAA and they said they had no comment, or they could not comment. That's interesting. There were no other reports or sightings of this thing, apparently. So weird. What the heck was it? Suzanne says a helicopter. Now I went to the comments in the video because that's always can be Russian roulette. Going to YouTube comments, trust me. I sometimes visit my own, and yeah, that's not something you want to do. But there were helicopter pilots that were in the comments saying, no, definitely not a helicopter. This is not a helicopter. There were people in the rocketry field commenting as well, saying it was not a rocket or anything like that. It didn't look like a drone to me. It didn't look like a balloon of any kind. I don't know. And the fact that it apparently fell to the ground, didn't explode or make a loud impact noise or anything. And then she went to where this thing presumably would have landed in close proximity to her house, and there was nothing there. It was just completely gone, whatever this thing was that seemingly fell from the sky. So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting video. And you guys know we don't share videos that often of UFOs. We'll be playing some other videos for you later. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty fun, interesting, compelling way to start the show for you guys tonight. So yeah, let me know in the comments, which I will not read. No, I will read them in the comments of the video, what you think that UFO could have been. And while you're doing that, like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and click the bell for notifications of when our videos release. Don't read the comments, Gareth says. I know, man. Oh boy. Let's talk science. I got some really fun space stories for you guys tonight. We will get to the UFOs. I promise that we are a UFO show. We are a UFO show. But we got some cool space-related stories, and we're going to start with the Northern Lights. Have you guys ever seen the Northern Lights? I'm just curious. I tried to here in Scotland when they were quote-unquote visible, and I wasn't able to see anything. But yeah, let me know if you've seen them. I'm sure it's quite a sight to behold. But possibly a sound, too. This story comes to us from Popular Mechanics, of all places, and Space.com. I cross-reference these stories. Jay Allen saw him last year. Cool. I love that. We are an animal-loving, science-savvy, alcoholic UFO show, Dalen says. So my beer aficionados out there are going to be disappointed in me. But tonight, I'm drinking the red stuff. I got Dark Horse Cabernet from California. So we'll be drinking that. I'm trying to cut back on the carbs, on the beer. Your boy's got to lose about 20 pounds so he can be camera ready for some upcoming projects. But yeah, I'm laying off the beer for a little bit, guys, unfortunately. But anyways, let's get back to this story. You see them in Ireland all the time. Cool. I love that. Ancient people claim to hear the Northern Lights pop and fizz, and scientists now say these legends are true. Did you guys know that you can hear the Northern Lights? This is crazy. So to many ancient peoples, they would not only claim to see the Northern Lights, but also hear them. There have been claims of crackling, popping, and even rustling that seem to rain down from above. Some believe that the noise is made by the souls as they run across the frost-hardened snow of the heavens. This was written by Danish explorer Knud Rasmussen in 1932, talking of the stories he heard while he was in Greenland. And a lot of other people in Scandinavia have made claims like this as well, of hearing the Northern Lights and these mythical, portals or realms between Earth and these other places. So interesting. But the Aurora Borealis can't make sounds, scientists said in the past. The lights occur 60 to 200 miles in the ionosphere, a space with air so thin it likely couldn't carry sound waves. And even if the aurora did somehow create any noise, it would dissipate almost completely during its minutes-long journey to Earth. Yet, according to Unto Calorvo Lane, PhD, who has studied the aurora, they say, quote, the sounds are observed sometimes simultaneously with movements or intensity modulations of the lights. So I want to give a shout out to a YouTube channel here, guys, for this brief interview with Finnish space scientist Tuija Pulkkinen, I believe is how you pronounce it, who's a professor at the University of Michigan, for this video. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip from the podcast, and we'll talk a little bit more about hearing the Northern Lights in just a few moments. Give this a watch.
Northern Lights, and some of the photographers up there were telling me that they could hear the Northern Lights, but that doesn't seem possible to me. Is that a myth or is that real?
There's a lot of research on that. It's certainly, if you think of what the auroral light is, it's electrons colliding with atmospheric atoms and molecules at 100 kilometers altitude. If you can hear an electron from 100 kilometers away, you have better ears than I do. Moreover, it's almost a perfect vacuum, so it doesn't even transmit sound waves.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but the catch is that there's a lot of observations of cracking noises and rattling noises associated with the auroras. And the explanation is that it creates, because of the magnetic disturbances associated with the auroras, it also creates electric fields. And so it creates potential differences that basically cause discharges between, for instance, tree branch and ground. And when that discharge happens, that creates a cracking sound. And so what you're seeing is an effect of the auroras creating a discharge somewhere much closer to you than the 100 kilometers, but it's still caused by the auroras. So is that a sound of the auroras? I think it's a question of terminology. It's a sound that gets created by the auroras.
Wow, that is so fascinating. So is it like static electricity, or is it miniature lightning, or is there a
It's a miniature lightning, basically, yes.
A miniature lightning. How interesting. So researchers believed people who heard this crackling and rustling were imagining it, as we had mentioned. Whoops. I opened the wrong thing here. Hold on one sec, guys. There we go. Researchers believe people who heard this crackling and rustling were imagining it, experiencing a kind of malfunction of our senses or our cognitive systems. But recent research by scientists, including Lane, are telling a different story in which those early storytellers did not imagine hearing these popping sounds, as we just heard in this video. Lane and colleagues began studying stories of the aurora and its sounds in 2000, trying to make sense of a seemingly impossible phenomenon. Auroras happen when solar winds carry high-speed particles from the sun to the Earth, guided by Earth's magnetic fields. I saw a bunch of you talking about EMFs in the chat. There you go. Boom. You were right on. Atoms in the upper atmosphere react to the energetic solar wind particles, causing stunning colors and waves around both the northern and southern poles. At the same time, many miles closer to home, an inversion layer forms with warm air, rising from the Earth, carrying with it negative charges that settle underneath positive charges. The layers stay until a magnetic field pulses during an aurora event, and a sudden discharge occurs that produces the crackling and clapping sound. Lane's hypothesis explains why the sounds seem to occur simultaneously with the aurora's bright lights, and why people from centuries ago believed the auroras themselves popped and even sizzled. So that's cool. That's cool. We can now, we can now validate these people throughout the centuries who have said they heard the northern lights. They indeed did, in forms of quote unquote small lightning, which is kind of cool. Pretty cool. Let's move to another NASA story. This is interesting. A NASA satellite that's been dead for 57 years sends a mysterious signal to Earth. What? Scientists in Australia picked up a brief burst of electromagnetic radiation recently. The pulse was so strong that it eclipsed all other signals coming from the sky, but its origins were unknown. After digging through the data, a research team discovered that the source wasn't a distant celestial object, but rather a zombie satellite left to orbit Earth with no purpose. NASA's Relay 2 launched back in 1964, 2 years after its predecessor, Relay 1, was sent to orbit. The pair were experimental communication satellites that carried on board experiments to map the trapped radiation belt, otherwise known as the Van Allen radiation belts. Relay 2 continued to operate until 1967, when its 2 transponders failed and it wasn't heard from again, until it let out a short-lived signal nearly 60 years later. Astronomers at the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder picked up a mysterious fast radio burst, or an FRB, that lasted for less than 30 nanoseconds. At first, scientists were excited, thinking they may have discovered a new pulsar or some other object. However, after closer examination, they were able to determine that it was the long-dead Relay 2. So I guess that's what a zombie satellite is, when a dead satellite suddenly comes back to life and sends a signal. A zombie satellite. That's cool. So fast radio bursts are brief, powerful pulses of radio waves that usually come from deep space and last for only a few milliseconds. Despite being short-lived, FRBs can release as much energy in that brief window of time to outshine an entire galaxy. As to why Relay 2 suddenly emitted this signal still remains a mystery. The scientists behind the detection believe that the satellite may have built up electricity over the years and then suddenly discharged it in a single powerful burst. Another possibility is that Relay 2 was struck by a micrometeorite or another object in orbit, resulting in the release of a small cloud of plasma. As an increasing number of defunct satellites zip around in space, producing all kinds of weird bleeps and bloops, it'll become harder for scientists to distinguish whether it's the cosmos talking or just a piece of zombie hardware. Wow. That would have been so exciting to be the ones who got that signal. And I'm sure it was just as exciting when they discovered what it actually was. A dead satellite that had come back from the dead and sent a message. And all that message said was, drink your Ovaltine. I could have gone so many ways with that, guys. I went PG-13. I went for A Christmas Story. Come on. Give me some credit. on that one, please. The poor thing. Bring it home, Dalen says. Aw. Yeah. Look at that cute satellite. It looks so 50s. I love it. And for a brief moment, it loved us back. Okay. We are going to move to our next story. I see other people hopping in. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the live stream. If you're new to the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're so happy to have you here where we cover the latest space and UFO related news. If you're watching us over on Twitter, thank you for being here. Head on over to YouTube. Come join us in the live chat and interact with us. It's very hard for me to see your comments over there on Twitter and on Twitch as well. So why not just migrate over and join us at the Ryan Sprague YouTube channel? We would love to have you guys. And a very special thank you to Lucy Kaplan for the $10 super chat. Not me anthropomorphizing. Wow, that is a mouthful. The poor satellite that has been stuck orbiting the Earth with no purpose, forgotten about. I know, Lucy. You can anthropomorphize all you want. We welcome that here. And thank you. Thank you so much for being our first super chat of the night. As I mentioned, guys, we are trying to reach 10 super chats. Or you can hit up our PayPal or buy me a coffee. We have QR codes up on the screen for you. We have links in the show notes to visit those as well. I will be checking those sporadically throughout the night too. Those will go towards our goal of 10 donations tonight to help fund Anomicon 2025. So thank you in advance, and a big thank you to Lucy as well. All right, let's move to our next space-related story. Oh, boy. NASA has found a strange skull on Mars. And it may have originated from elsewhere. A skull on Mars, guys. Is it Marvin the Martian? Ooh, that is good wine. Wow. Shout out to Dark Horse Wine in California. That is delish. Is it really a skull? That's what I want to know. So on April 11th of this year, NASA's Perseverance rover spotted a dark, craggy formation jutting out from the otherwise pale terrain of the Jezero crater. It looked ominous enough to earn the nickname Skull Hill, and weird enough to stump scientists. Perseverance had been inching its way down Witch Hazel Hill, a slope on the crater's rim, once flanked by a massive ancient lake. The region known as Port Anson is littered with what NASA calls floats, which are geological drifters likely carried by rivers, floods, or other chaotic force billions of years ago. So Skull Hill fits the bill. It's out of place, out of character, and full of questions. Its surface is pitted and scarred, like it's been through something. It's been through a thing or two. I've seen some things. Researchers suspect Martian wind loaded with fine dust may have blasted away softer bits of the rock over eons. Or maybe the holes formed from within as fragile chunks eroded and fell out over time. So this skull-like thing, it's an eerie color, almost charcoal black, and it has scientists thinking it could possibly be a meteorite. But SuperCam readings quickly shut that theory down. The chemical signature didn't match anything interplanetary. That left a more down to Mars theory. Skull Hill might be volcanic. Minerals like pyroxene and olivine tend to darken igneous rocks, and the Martian surface has no shortage. I can't talk tonight, guys. It has no shortage of these types of rocks. This chunk could have been flung from a nearby crater or left behind by an eruption that carved part of the landscape. So it's been a busy stretch for the Perseverance rover. Since December, it's collected 5 new samples, analyzed 7 more in detail, and fired its last laser at over 80 targets. That's the fastest pace of scientific work since it landed back in 2021. I remember when that thing landed. We did a live stream of it. Ah, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. The math, the risk, the percentage that this would go wrong of landing Perseverance was just astronomical. Not forgive the pun, but we did it. And now it's doing incredible, incredible work. But the real prize, NASA says, is getting those rocks back to Earth. And that's still up in the air, they say. NASA's Mars sample return mission has hit delays and budget issues. Until then, the best scientists can do is look, measure, and guess. Skull Hill may be a volcanic loner, a battered survivor of Mars' wetter days, or something stranger. Whatever it is, it's another reminder that the red planet is not done surprising us. So it wasn't a skull per se, but it is on Skull Hill. Hello to Keith Lewis Taylor. Thank you so much for being here, Keith. Past guest of the show. Very good to have you here, my friend. You're doing great work out there in the UFO field, and thank you for sharing the show. We truly do appreciate that. Okay. Do we have more space-related stories? Kind of. My voice went up 2 octaves there. Let's travel to the Antarctic, shall we? This is a weird one, guys. Not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. No lies detected. This is a strange story. Strange signals are detected from the Antarctic ice, and they seem to defy laws of physics, and scientists are searching for an answer. Recently, a cosmic particle detector has spotted a burst of strange radio signals from the ice of Antarctica that currently defies explanation. The results could hint at the existence of new particles or interactions between particles currently unknown to physics. Sorry, guys, I get so excited I start hiccuping. The mystery radio pulses were picked up about 25 miles or 40 kilometers above Earth by the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA. ANITA is a series of instruments that float over Antarctica, carried by balloons with the aim of detecting ultra-high energy cosmic neutrinos and other cosmic rays as they pelt Earth from space. ANITA usually picks up signals when they are reflected off the ice of Antarctica. But these pulses were different, coming from below the horizon at an orientation that currently can't be explained by particle physics. The radio waves detected by ANITA were oriented at very steep angles, 30 degrees below the surface of the ice. This means that the signal had to pass through thousands of miles of rock before reaching ANITA. This should have led to interactions that left the radio pulses too faint to be detectable. But clearly, that did not happen here. The first theory on the signal was neutrinos, the most abundant particles in the universe. But after many ways of testing this, scientists have ruled out neutrinos. And as of right now, the signals have been deemed anomalous. The signals could therefore be indicative of something new, perhaps even hints of dark matter, the mysterious cosmic stuff that accounts for around 85% of the universe's matter content. Crazy. The mysteries of Antarctica never cease to amaze me. And the signal below the ice, they can't figure it out, guys. It is anomalous. And it remains anomalous for now. Speaking of anomalous, help us by supporting Anomicon, September 20th. Our free virtual conference coming to you guys with tons of speakers, insights in all different facets of the unknown, paranormal, supernatural, ufological, cryptozoological, and everything anomalous. We'll have more information about that later on. Okay. Let's move to our next story here. Should I do this one? Yeah, I'm going to do this one. This is pretty cool. So, Steven Spielberg is coming out with a brand new UFO movie. And I'm going to tell the story again really quick here. Some of you have already heard it, but I was on a 3-week break from filming in Canada somewhat recently. For those of you who don't know, when I'm not talking UFOs, I'm hunting ghosts in Nova Scotia, Canada. And I do it on a television show, a brand new show, actually. I was on 3 seasons of another show, and now I'm on a brand new show out there in Canada called Haunted Heart and Soul. I'll have more information about it in the future. But that being said, we had a 3-week break, so I flew home to New York, where my family lives, and I wanted to hang out with my family, my dad and my sister, and all of their amazing little fur babies. And what happened was I flew into Newark, New Jersey, Newark Airport, and as many of you may or may not know, Newark was going through a lot of technical issues the past few months. A bunch of the radar systems kept going down, and this would obviously create a lot of conundrums. Flights could not land safely. Flights could not take off safely, and this affected my flight coming in from Canada. And I had a layover. Excuse me, I had a not a layover. I had a transfer flight to my hometown of Syracuse, New York, at Newark. And because of the delays at Newark, I landed late and I missed my flight. Not a huge problem, except that the next flight was not for like 24 hours. So I either had to get a hotel for the night or I had to stay in the airport for almost 24 hours. Wasn't going to do either. I ended up renting a car and driving home to New York. However, as I was leaving Newark, I hit a huge parade for Rutgers University graduation. So that delayed me by about an hour and a half. Okay, congratulations to all the graduates. But finally, I get on the highway. I'm heading towards New York, and all of a sudden, I hit traffic, and for another 2.5 to 3 hours of a delay, I got stuck. What should have been a 4.5-hour drive from Newark to Syracuse turned into about a 9-hour travel. The reason for that delay, 3-hour delay, Steven Spielberg was filming his UFO movie in Newark. And they cut off half of the highway and made everyone detour and caused insane delays. I was delayed 3.5 hours because of Steven Spielberg filming this UFO movie. I can't make this stuff up. The irony just crazy. The reason I bring that up, guys, is for those of you who don't know, Spielberg is making a new UFO movie, not Close Encounters. There's a lot of speculation that it may have to do with a lot of the current ufology that's going on like post 2017. And the rumor is also that the movie is titled Disclosure. Not confirmed yet, but rumored. But this being said, we just got news that the film has wrapped, which means all filming is done. The movie's finished. And not only is it finished, but some of the footage has been shown. And we have a description of what that footage is. You ready for this? This is interesting. I'm going to read this out here. Jurassic Park writer David Cope has finally shared an update regarding the current status of the upcoming Steven Spielberg UFO movie. David Cope is one of Steven Spielberg's like closest colleagues and has written many of the screenplays that Spielberg has gone on to direct, and one of the biggest ones obviously was Jurassic Park. This marks the creative duo's latest collaboration after first working together in the iconic movie about dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. The untitled film, possibly titled Disclosure, is currently scheduled to arrive in theaters on June 12th, 2026. So a little less than a year from now. But exciting update, and some of that footage has been shown. The ensemble cast includes Emily Blunt, Wyatt Russell, Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, and Noah Robbins. So during a recent interview, Cope confirmed that production on this Spielberg movie has officially completed. Although he wasn't able to tease more of the project's plot or characters, he did reveal that Spielberg was the most involved on this as he's been on any movie that Cope has ever written for him to direct. So this movie will have Spielberg's fingers all over it, more than any other film he's ever done with Cope, the writer. So that tells you something right there. Spielberg is heavily invested in the creative process and the perception of this UFO movie. So Variety, as you guys know, the entertainment website, news site, was present at a special event in Los Angeles this past week where Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment unveiled a new screening room named after Steven Spielberg. And at this event, the very first footage from the UFO movie was shown. Per Variety, here is what the footage showed. Spielberg introduced a behind-the-scenes clip that didn't quite confirm an alien theme, though plenty of menacing figures in unmarked black cars were seen chasing Emily Blunt, who appeared in several scenes as an everywoman in a rural area. In one sequence with O'Connor, Blunt's busted sedan collides with a speeding train. She and O'Connor attempt an escape through the broken windshield as the vehicle gets chewed alive between screeching metal and the train tracks. Hewson and Domingo's characters weren't clearly defined in the footage, though they're on the business end of a cat and mouse game that explodes through a farmhouse and terrorizes pedestrians. If we had put money on it, Colin Firth is our bad guy in this movie, Variety says. The Academy Award winner looks sinister and well suited as a leader in some kind of underground workspace, one that resembles a NASA control room. There you go, guys. Unmarked black vehicles. We've got some mysterious crashing through farmhouses in rural areas where UFOs are often seen. Colin Firth, an Academy Award winner, is seen well suited in an underground space that resembles NASA. Come on. If this is not the UFO movie, I don't know what is. This is awesome. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be tight. It's going to be fast-paced. And I cannot wait for whatever this UFO movie turns out to be. I don't care. I don't care if it's like a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I don't care if it has to do with disclosure of today. I don't care. Give it to me. I'm there opening night. Why wouldn't you be for a Steven Spielberg movie? Crazy, crazy stuff. I love this. You know what else I love? International relations. What? That was the weirdest transition ever. The UK is going to have a UAP hearing. What? That's right. Finally, my current country of residence is going to have a UAP hearing. Let's talk about it on the other side, guys. We're going to take a very quick break here with you guys, and we will come back on the other side and talk about a possible British UFO hearing that's going to take place. We will also talk about a YouTuber who is offering $100,000 to former director of AARO, Sean Kirkpatrick, for a podcast interview. And also, the Buga Sphere almost got burglarized. This and so much more when we come back from the break. Oh, did I mention we may have located where that massive UFO is that Ross Coulthart said was under a building that had to be built around it because it was so big and couldn't be transported? Yeah, we might have found it. Come back on the other side. We'll talk about all of this stuff with you and so much more. Stick around. Greetings, everyone. Ryan Sprague here, host of Somewhere in the Skies. For over 7 years and more than 400 episodes, the Somewhere in the Skies podcast has always been free to listen to, but it's not free to create. So we offer several ways to help support our efforts and get rewards in return. If you listen to the podcast on Apple, you can click the subscribe button at the top of your Somewhere in the Skies feed to become a premium Apple subscriber. Or you can join our Patreon campaign with several tiers available. Both of these options give you the same benefits and rewards: ad-free episodes, early access to the main show, and bonus episodes and content. Help keep the lights on at the Somewhere in the Skies HQ, and help us continue to grow by becoming a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/somewhereskies, or by clicking the subscribe button at the top of your Apple feed. Thank you for your continued support, and keep looking up. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Somewhere in the Live Stream, where we break down all the latest space and UFO related news. We covered a ton of space stuff. Let's really get to the UFOs, and we're going to get a little wacky. We are going down some rabbit holes tonight, guys. You know, last week was pretty serious. We had a lot of serious stories that we broke down with Suzanne, and shout out to Suzanne, by the way. Say hello to her in the chat, guys. She's doing great work as always and helped me get a bunch of these stories for you guys this week. But let's start with this one. Finally, after 2 congressional UFO hearings, I believe it is at this point, we finally have the UK getting involved and possibly having a UAP hearing themselves. So, let's read here. Britain is set to hold public hearings at which military personnel can now disclose their close encounters with UFOs. The US-style hearings will allow UK-style hearings will allow RAF, Army, and Navy whistleblowers to tell all about their experiences they have been previously banned from revealing under military non-disclosure rules and for fear of ridicule. The UK Disclosure Group has secured a meeting with a minister from the House of Lords to set up a forum where UFO whistleblowers can come forward with their evidence. The group was set up by documentary filmmaker Mark Christopher Lee to push for transparency on reported sightings of UFOs. An associate of Prime Minister Keir Starmer has arranged for a minister from the House of Lords to meet with Mark to put the first steps in place to create a select committee to hear evidence from these UFO whistleblowers. Mark has been informed that that the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is being briefed on UFO activity around the globe, and King Charles is pushing for UFO disclosure as well, due to his own interest and that of his late mom and dad, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And yeah, there we go. An abrupt ending to this story, but it's happening. Apparently it's happening. Will this actually come to fruition? We don't know, but the wheels have been greased, guys. It's gonna be historic if it happens. The UK's first ever UAP hearing. What do you guys think? I know we got a bunch of Brits in here, some Scots, Europeans in general. What do you think? Will this come to fruition? Will we get a UK UAP hearing? And if we do, will anything of substance come to light? Let me know. Let me know. This brings us to our next story. Former government UFO investigator is offered $100,000 for one podcast interview. Sean Kirkpatrick is well known in the UFO community as a skeptic whose controversial 2024 report on the historical record of U.S. government involvement with UAP Volume 1 threw cold water on the idea of alien off-world technologies. While serving as the head of AARO, Congress's UFO investigation office, Kirkpatrick also published an op-ed in the Scientific American stating that many of the supposed UFO encounters he investigated were unauthorized disclosures of legitimate U.S. programs or related R&D that have nothing to do with ET issues or technology. So who is this YouTuber offering $100K for an interview with Sean Kirkpatrick? Jesse Michaels of American Alchemy. I've never watched Jesse Michaels. I've never heard his podcast. I know nothing about him or his work. I have been told he has some deep connections with less than favorable tech entrepreneurs, and he's got some shady connections. I'll leave it at that. That's just what I've heard. I have no verifiable evidence of that. I don't know Jesse. I've never interacted with him. And I frankly have never seen, heard, or watched his interviews. But apparently he's got some money to throw around. And he and a friend are offering $100,000 to Sean Kirkpatrick for one damn interview. Crazy. Now, as you see in this featured image here, if you're watching this on YouTube, Jesse does not buy anything that was currently or recently released by the Wall Street Journal. You know, when it comes to these programs, UFO programs, all being, fake and planted by the United States Air Force and beyond, both as hazing techniques and also as a way to mask top secret weaponry and technologies and stuff like that. Jesse doesn't buy it. Doesn't buy any of it. And he also has some pretty strong feelings about the authors of the Wall Street articles as well. Let's watch this clip from from Jesse that he put up on his YouTube channel, where he kind of calls out the Wall Street Journal and clearly the people who contributed to the Wall Street Journal articles, which were most likely, but not yet verified, former deputy director of AARO, Tim Phillips, and former director of AARO, Sean Kirkpatrick. They want to get to the bottom of this and they want to interview Sean Kirkpatrick, but let's go ahead and watch this clip and then talk a little bit more about this story on the other side.
UFOs are all just some fake, multi-decade long hazing ritual, then nobody should have any issue with the impending UAP Disclosure Act. Who cares if we have civilian oversight over programs that don't exist? And hopefully when the UAP Disclosure Act goes up for vote again, Sean Kirkpatrick won't lobby against it like he did last time. So on that note, I'm linking a petition below that you will hopefully all sign in support of the UAP Disclosure Act. This will ensure civilian congressional oversight over UFOs and elect an elite presidential board to help push disclosure. This Wall Street Journal article is truly so bad that I am almost inclined to believe it is a pro-UFO conspiracy. So please, Wall Street Journal, do better next time. We need better debunkers. I'm not anti-debunking. There's plenty of bullshit in UFO world, a lot of which I cover. I'm just anti-bad, lazy debunking. And if Joel Schechtman or Sean Kirkpatrick or Susan Goff or any of these people want to come on my show or debate me in any context and discuss any of this in a civil way, I'd be happy to host them. Surely it would help promote this article. And if the article's contents are true, they can back all this stuff up. I suspect I won't hear back about that invitation. And that's probably the most frustrating thing about these people. They only hit you with these cheap shots from afar. They never actually show up and meet you face to face.
There you go. You know, I understand to an extent what Jesse's saying, that the debunkers will often not have the debate. Man, really the only one I could think of would be Mick West, who was willing to actually like entertain the possibility of like talking to whatever podcasts or YouTube channels and have civil discourse and debate on these things. Jesse doesn't believe that will happen with the authors of the Wall Street Journal articles or these other people who he named, primarily that of Sean Kirkpatrick. But he's ready to put his money where his mouth is. And yeah, he's offering a lot of money. Michaels would say this on Twitter: I would pay Sean Kirkpatrick $50K on top of travel and accommodations to come on my show and discuss these Wall Street Journal articles. Surely, if he's correct and not cynical about his position, basic incentives would apply. My only condition is that we don't edit any of it. Interesting. So yeah, Jesse does not want sorry, I'm trying to get the there we go. Jesse does not want this to be censored in any way, shape, or form. And he wants to have this debate about the articles and the sourcing behind them and where's the backing up of these fake UFO programs and these hazing rituals by the Air Force, stuff like that. So following this tweet where he offered $50K to Kirkpatrick, the next day Michaels doubled the amount, saying, my buddy Kyle offered to double this. So now we're at $100,000 for a simple, unedited podcast appearance from Sean Kirkpatrick. As of today, Sean Kirkpatrick has not issued a response. But I guess the offer still stands. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I have a very good feeling this will not happen. It would not look good for Sean Kirkpatrick to go on this show after Michaels has made it public that he's offering $100,000, as I'm sure any of us would love $100,000 for doing a podcast interview, right? But it would look really bad if he did agree to do it and took the money. Now, it would be interesting if Sean Kirkpatrick agreed to do it and either said, I'll do it for free, or said, donate that money to a charity or something like that, right? Give it to NASA. They need it. Their funding is getting cut left and right. Either way, I don't see this happening. Nobody really wins in this, in my personal opinion, and we almost all lose. I'll take 100G to talk about my experiences on SITS, Garrett says. I wish I could offer that amount of money to come on the show. I have never paid for a guest on Somewhere in the Skies. Ever. And I won't. I don't believe in paying for guests. I respect the hustle and like people, quote unquote, knowing their worth. But I have had a few people ask me for money to be on the show, and I've respectfully, and maybe once, somewhat disrespectfully, said no. I will not do that. I will not do that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this happens. Sean Kirkpatrick will take the bait and do the interview. It'd be $100,000 richer or not. I seriously doubt it. But that brings us, guys, to our next story. Ooga booga booga Buga Sphere. The Buga Sphere almost got burgled by fake cops. What is happening? I need to drink some wine. Do you guys know about the Buga Sphere? It sounded like I said it's like an atmosphere, the Buga Sphere. The Buga Sphere. There we go. Hooked on a feeling, high on believing. Ooga booga. Good one, Jay Allen. I love it. I love it. What is the Buga Sphere, and why was it almost stolen by fake cops? Let's talk a little bit about the sphere before we get to this interesting video by a colleague of ours. Known as the Buga Sphere, this small metal orb was spotted in March of this year over the town of Buga in Colombia. The sphere was zigzagging through the sky in a way that defies the movement of conventional aircraft. The object was recovered shortly after it landed and has since been taken to Mexico to be analyzed by scientists who have discovered a maze of fiber optic wires inside that suggest it can send and receive signals. Controversial UFO researcher Jaime Maussan hosted an international conference to discuss the latest findings on the Buga Sphere on June 20th. U.S. Congressman Eric Burleson of Missouri and Dr. Stephen Greer were among a group of American officials in attendance when Jaime Maussan claimed that the imposters that attempted to steal the Buga Sphere were disguised as police officers. They attempted to rob the Buga Sphere and and they tried to rob it right after Jaime Maussan had announced that him and his group of scientists were trying to reactivate the sphere using an electrical charge. I promised myself I wouldn't cover the Buga Sphere on the show, but here we are. Here we are. It's been a light week in UFO news, guys. I was really struggling. But you know what? I give the following person credit for following the story, for following the science, quote unquote, and for at least entertaining the possibility that the sphere could be something anomalous. And that is our good friend and colleague, Christina Gomez. She recently did a video all about the sphere and this international conference or press briefing that Jaime Maussan gave on the sphere, and kind of the aftermath when it came to these fake cops trying to steal the sphere. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip from Christina Gomez's YouTube channel. It's a little long, but bear with us. She does go through this entire story pretty succinctly, and I thought it was worth at least entertaining the possibility. But if nothing more, maybe we'll get a good laugh from Dr. Stephen Greer. I don't know. I haven't watched the entire video I'm about to play, so apologies in advance. But let's go ahead and play this. And God bless you, Christina. I honestly don't know how you do it. Here we go with the Ooga Booga Buga Sphere. Hooked on a feeling.
Happened at a press conference on June 20th, and Dr. Stephen Greer dropped an extraordinary claim about law enforcement impersonating attempts to seize what might be the first piece of extraterrestrial technology we've ever retained, at least by civilians. Take a listen.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Stephen Greer. I'm in Mexico City. As many of you know, we've been examining the Buga Sphere for the last 2 days with Congressman Burleson and a group of scientists. We've just been notified by Jaime Maussan that there was an attempt by fake policemen to enter the vault where the Buga Sphere is stored, and we have notified security and the apparatus I'm working with under law enforcement. And you should know that the other risk here is that we have taken specific samples from the Buga Sphere that will be tested in a state-of-the-art lab to prove whether or not the metal, as well as some of the other components, are of Earth or outer space origin. Those scientists' information have been provided to the top law enforcement and security apparatus that I'm working with. And so any sort of attempts to interfere with this examination will be known, and the people and perpetrators will be held to account for. So this is what I wanted people to know, and we're doing everything to set up security for this. Thank you.
But that's just the beginning. What 3 other people said at the conference will make you question everything you think you know about government transparency and UFO disclosure. Let's start with an interesting admission. U.S. Congressman Eric Burleson flew all the way to Mexico City, and what he said should maybe terrify every American who believes in government accountability. Take a listen.
And this effort, we've been blocked in Congress. We've been blocked from receiving the briefings that we need. And so I think that it's long overdue. Look, it's not any government's right to protect any knowledge about extraterrestrial or, non-human intelligence if it exists. And so we have too many people in reporting things. We have too many videos coming out to ignore it. I think I have a responsibility on oversight to investigate it and do my due diligence, and that's why I'm here. And so thank you for hosting this, and I'm looking forward to seeing further scientific discovery.
Any comment about the Buga Sphere?
It's a remarkable, it's very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what the studies come.
Thank you very much.
Let's stop right there. A sitting member of Congress elected by the people to provide oversight just admitted on international television that his own government wouldn't brief him on UFO information. Think about what that means. This isn't some fringe conspiracy theorist. This is an elected official with constitutional oversight responsibilities being denied access to information about objects in American airspace. And if they're hiding this stuff from Congress, what exactly are they hiding from us? And here's what makes it even worse. Burleson said that it's not any government's right to protect knowledge about non-human intelligence. He's basically saying there's a shadow government operating outside constitutional authority, and even congressmen can't penetrate it. Not only that, I found it very unique that a congressman would even make a public comment on the whole thing, being at the conference talking about the Buga Sphere. And we remember him from the 2023 congressional hearing with David Grush when he said, "I don't believe anyone in this town," referring to Congress.
Interesting. Burleson looked so uncomfortable at that event, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, look, you're in a foreign place. Things get lost in translation. He was trying to make what he was saying digestible to a primarily Spanish-speaking audience, I would assume. But man, some of the images coming out of that event of Burleson just cracked me up. I think we posted one on our Instagram. And people are even saying in the chat, like, apparently Burleson may have briefed Donald Trump on some of this stuff. Whether it's like aliens or the Buga Sphere, even. I saw someone in the chat say every time someone says Buga Sphere, they're going to take a shot. You must be wasted by now. Buga Sphere. Buga Sphere. It does. Look at this thing. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm not going to lie, whatever it is. But to me, remember that whole phenomenon a couple years ago with those like monoliths that were popping up all over the United States and other countries as well. And come to find out, it was like some big art project / social experiment. I wonder if we're seeing something similar here. This thing looks like the metal orb version of a crop circle to me. It looks man-made. It's interesting that when they looked inside of it, it had a ton of wiring. Apparently it can be activated and, turned on and off. I don't know. I haven't watched. I don't know much about the Buga Sphere, so maybe I'm speaking out of turn. However, the original owner of the Buga Sphere, said that while this thing was in the vault where it's being kept, I believe some like secret vault that Jaime Maussan has with his scientists, that the mass of the sphere increased by something like 30 to 40% by itself. Like no one had opened it and put something in it. It just, the next day, had more mass to it when they went to analyze it. That's weird. That is very, very strange. I don't know, just there's so much to this, and like the fact that Stephen Greer's got his hands all over this ball. And that Jaime Maussan also has his hands all over this ball. A lot of people have their hands on this ball. And all of these people have been known to fake things. So I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't need to say anything else. The proof's in the pudding. I don't know. The fact that like Burleson is all wrapped up in this now just And apparently, when Burlinson was asked why he went to this event, it was because David Grush told him to go. So what is happening? I feel like I'm living in a weird, mad magazine version of ufology these days. It's just crazy. But there you go, guys. You can check out the full video over on Christina Gomez's YouTube channel if you're interested in learning more about how all of these men handled the ball. There you go. And that brings us to our last story of the night. Do you guys remember when Ross Coulthart came forward and said that he knows of a location where a UFO of such massive size was underground that a building had to be built over it to keep it hidden? This quote-unquote UFO could not be moved or transported, therefore a building was built over it so that it could further be studied, analyzed, possibly reverse engineered. I don't know. But Ross has never come forward with where that location is. But, a lot of butts. Butts and balls tonight, guys. We are doing butts and balls. But in a recent interview, he did possibly accidentally leak some information where that possible location could be. I want to give a shout out to our very good friend and colleague, Pavel, over at the Psychoactivo podcast and YouTube channel. Head on over there and give him a follow. He does great work over there. He was recently on That UFO podcast doing the news breakdowns over there with Andy McGrillen. I highly suggest people go listen to that. They had a great conversation over there. But Pavel, with the help of with current colleagues and friends, came to a theory after Ross Coulthart may have said just a little too much during an interview about where this location might be. And that theory is pretty interesting. A little out there, but interesting nonetheless. So I thought we would at least start to dip our toes into the rabbit hole that is the massive UFO. So let's go ahead and watch this video from Pavel over on his YouTube channel. It's a little lengthy. I want to thank him in advance for allowing us to play this clip for you guys. And this is just a portion of it. I highly suggest going over to his channel and watching the full video, but this is compelling. And I got a kick out of watching it because, look, a lot of people don't believe this UFO exists at all, this massive UFO with a building built around it. And I totally understand that. I completely understand that. I'm still not convinced because we've been given no one more information about it. If this is true, if there is a massive UFO that size, why can't we know about it? But will we possibly find out where it is? Let's watch this clip and we'll close things out in just a little bit, guys. Check out this clip from Pavel and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Biggest mysteries out of all of ufology is the time when Ross Coulthart said that there was a massive UFO, that a building was built around it because it was too big to move, and that he couldn't say where it was. And there's been a lot of speculation about the potential location of this place. And people have said that it's in Australia. People have said that it's in South Korea, which is part of one of the videos that I did. I can't really say where it really is, but I caught something that Ross may have misspoken during his most recent interview with Jesse Michaels, the very last question Jesse asked him was about this topic. And just please listen to what he said in this little tidbit and let me know if I'm just imagining things or not.
And so in the case of the buried UFO, I can't reveal, because if I reveal why I say this, it would compromise it. It's a very sensitive place. That should be enough of a guide for you. And to reveal the full extent of what I know would compromise the lives of young men and women who are doing good things for America, completely separate from the UAP program, and they're probably oblivious to what's sitting downstairs. And so in the case of the buried UFO, I can't reveal, because if I reveal why I say this, it would compromise it. It's a very sensitive place. That should be enough of a guide for you. And to reveal the full extent of what I know would compromise the lives of young men and women who are doing good things for America, completely separate from the UAP program, and they're probably oblivious to what's sitting downstairs.
I played it twice because I want you to please listen carefully to what he said. It's a very sensitive place. People who are working for America are oblivious to this. Their lives will be compromised. So if you think about that statement, there are very few places, or literally only just one place in the world that would have Americans working, and a lot of them, other than in America. Where would you think that is? An embassy. So this goes into a really deep rabbit hole. Somebody from Hillary Clinton's staff requested documents pertaining to, and I quote, the Tomb of Gilgamesh. And that leads into a really deep rabbit hole. If you guys did not know, the whole Epic of Gilgamesh and the Sumerians come from one place, which is Sumer. But in modern day, that place is Iraq. And one of the biggest U.S. embassies in the world, if not the biggest, is in Baghdad in Iraq. So just so you see the scope and the size, this is just the main building. But the whole embassy is a complex of buildings, not just that one. So are you ready for the big rabbit hole? Friend of mine, Asap Rocky. This man, his name is retired U.S. Army intelligence analyst Edward Keith Albert. And back in February 15, 2023, he gave an interview to UFO researcher and journalist Linda Moulton Howe, who has a channel called Earth Files. He talked to her about this operation that they were ordered to go to Iraq and retrieve artifacts. And this is what happened. Shout out to my man, Asap Rocky, who put together this video, and see if you can spot the big elephant in the room and the potential clue to where this massive UFO may be. Because, yeah, Ross did misspeak. He said that Americans are working there. There are many of them, and they're oblivious to it. And what they're doing there is work for America. So that really narrows it down to an embassy, really. If you know any other place where there are a lot of Americans working for America, let me know, because I think that is an embassy. And just a few more facts. That American embassy in Baghdad has tens of thousands of Americans there. So it is massive. And I still don't know if this massive UFO is beneath that embassy, which is actually right beneath Babylon, the city.
People think maybe we invaded for oil, but could it have been something else? Some say that Bush wanted to finish what his dad started with Desert Storm. So how does this relate to hieroglyphics on UFOs? Well, during the first invasion of Iraq, the Baghdad Museum was looted. So let's entertain the idea that an ulterior motive for the war was to collect artifacts. This would actually be backed up by a whistleblower testimony in 2020 on Earth Files.
We're going into Iraq to get artifacts? Not to get anything but artifacts. That was the most important thing, they said.
But which artifacts?
I don't know. They just said artifacts. There were things in Iraq that were so old that we had to go get. And Bush wanted those artifacts. It was very important.
Did we get them? And if so, where did they go?
We got them. They said they got everything they needed from that country.
Where is it?
I don't know. We have it. Like you're looking for the Ark of the Covenant type stuff. You know, weapons like that. It's a weapon.
So whatever it is, we got it. What was it? This is going to sound crazy. In 2003, a team of archaeologists claimed that they might have found the tomb of Gilgamesh. Yes, the one from the epic, the half-god giant Nephilim Gilgamesh. But before they could complete their investigation, the Iraq War begins. And we set up our camp right on top of ancient Babylon. And this is so
Did you hear that? Right on top of it.
problematic because of all the damage that was done.
Stuff happens, and it's untidy, and freedom's untidy, and free people are free to make mistakes, and commit crimes, and do bad things.
Finally, on April 29th, 2003, this story runs in BBC announcing the discovery. So days after this article runs, we declare the war a success, but we didn't find weapons of mass destruction.
Ain't that weird? And this connection is really funny because Hobby Lobby is a store of Christian memorabilia. And listen to this.
Coincidentally, one of the most important tablets which was looted in 1991 was the Gilgamesh Dream tablet. And it popped up back in 2019 in the hands of the owner of Hobby Lobby at his religion museum. And later we made what I believe is the biggest embassy in the world right on top of ancient Babylon.
Okay. There's a lot to discuss there, but wow. A lot of coincidences. I will give everyone involved with this video that. And could this be it? Could this be where the massive UFO is being stored? A lot of things line up. But I'm sure the public has different opinions. I actually put a poll up on Twitter, on my personal Twitter account, about where the massive UFO is buried. And that is because of this video. I wanted to know where people thought it might be. You know, there have been rumblings of different places, South Korea, as Pavel mentioned, now Iraq, U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, some other places as well. So let me go to our poll on Twitter. I know we have an actual poll on YouTube. I'll get to that later. But let's go ahead and look at what you guys said. So I asked, whoop, that's the wrong one. That's the YouTube one. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I have it here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay. I asked on Twitter, where is the massive UFO with a building constructed over it per Ross Coulthart's claims? And these were my four options. The U.S. Embassy at Iraq, which was brought up in this video, Pine Gap in Australia, which is where a lot of people believe, Antarctica, which tonight we learned has many mysteries to still be solved, and the one where I believe it is, the Walmart Super Center in New York. I'm still going with that one. And it actually beat Antarctica because out of 328 votes, 35% of you believe it is buried under the U.S. Embassy in Iraq, 23% Pine Gap, 18% Antarctica, and 22% Walmart Super Center. So a lot of you do believe that Pavel might be on the right track along with his colleagues. So interesting. Obviously, Pavel, his colleagues, and myself included, know this is just a theory. The ambiguity and teasing nature of Ross Coulthart has left us with many more questions than answers, and will have us continuing to theorize about where this might be. But maybe we are a small step closer to finding out where that big bad UFO is actually buried. Head on over to my personal Twitter account. A lot of people did contribute other places where it may have been on that thread, so you can go over and read those as well. It's interesting. It's really interesting. It's food for thought. And yeah, instead of just letting that story die, some people are going after it. And I respect them for that. So, could they be going down a rabbit hole that they'll never get out of? Possibly, but welcome to ufology. Okay. I believe that's it for our news stories, guys. But I did another poll, and it had to do with Jesse Michaels and Sean Kirkpatrick in that $100,000 interview that he wants to get. And let's go and see what our results were for that one before I tease what's coming up on Somewhere in the Skies in just a couple hours. I asked, will Sean Kirkpatrick go on the Jesse Michaels show? And currently, 13% of you said yes, 59% of you said no, 7% said who, and 20% of you said I don't care. That is fair enough, guys. Fair enough. The majority of you believe this will not happen. I would have to count myself in that camp as well. I don't think this interview is going to happen. I just don't. If it does, and if Kirkpatrick takes that money, he better donate it to a charity. That's all I'm saying. Or to Anomicon 2025. You like that? I try. Okay. What do we got? I'm speaking, guys, at an event coming up this August that I really, really hope you guys will join me at here in the UK. This is gonna be so much fun. I'm honored to be one of the guest speakers at this event. I can't wait to go to Hexham, UK. Cosmic Frequencies event happening August 9th in Hexham in the United Kingdom. This will be an evening of thought-provoking talks on the science of the cosmos, the search for ET intelligence, and, of course, UFOs. There will be music by the Voyagers from Dynatron, also known as the SKX Funkanauts. They're the ones who invited me to come speak at this event. Again, I am so excited. I'm so honored to be speaking amongst these other speakers. The other speakers at this event will be Dr. Beatrice Villarreal, who has been on our show in the past. She is an astrophysicist, the project leader of the Vasco project, which investigates dying stars. And she's also the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science International Rising Talent winner of 2022. A huge, huge honor. She will be speaking. Some dude named Ryan Sprague. I don't know who that is. Next up, we have Steve Crabtree, Emmy-nominated filmmaker and former executive producer of BBC Horizon and Sky at Night. And last but certainly not least, Dan Pye, who is the director of astronomy and science communication at the Kielder Observatory, which is in the UK. So this is going to be so much fun, guys. Now, August 9th is the event where the speakers will be at. We'll each be giving individual talks. We'll also be doing a panel discussion and a special meet and greet after the talks as well. However, this will also be taking place August 8th and August 10th throughout Hexham, UK, with other really cool events. So if you want to get tickets and if you want to learn more, you can head on over to cosmicfrequencies.org. Again, that's cosmicfrequencies.org to get your tickets to the event and to learn more about the entire weekend event happening in Hexham, UK. I am so, so excited. Awesome. Thank you, Suzanne. I got it. Awesome. Suzanne's so awesome. She puts up notes for me because I forget everything. But I hope you will not forget Cosmic Frequencies happening August 9th. I can't wait to meet some of you. I know a bunch of people have already booked their tickets. Tickets are going pretty quick from what I was told by the organizer. So be sure to get yours for this really special event happening. You know, there's not a lot of UFO conferences over here in the UK. So I'm really, really honored that I was asked to speak at this event. I can't wait to have this panel discussion with these awesome people. So yeah, again, learn more, cosmicfrequencies.org. This is your last chance, guys, to get your super chats and super stickers in if you want to help fund Anomicon 2025, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment here. But I do want to give a special thank you again to Lucy Kaplan, to Gareth, and also to Joseph. Thank you so much, guys, for helping us try to reach our goal tonight of 10 super chats or super stickers. I have not checked the PayPal or Buy Me a Coffees. If anyone has donated over there, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate that. You are helping to support all of our work, but primarily Anomicon 2025 happening September 20th. And that brings us to Anomicon. So for the past 3 years now, this would be the 3rd year of Anomicon. Wow, I can't believe that Suzanne and I have been doing this. And it's a free virtual event where speakers in all facets of study when it comes to the paranormal, supernatural, cryptozoological, UFOs come together and give presentations and insights about these topics. It is a live stream event, just like this live stream you're watching right now. And yeah, it's a fun time. We're in the chat for the entire event, and we take your questions, your comments, and we have a really good time. It's grown considerably in the past 2 years, and I'm so excited and honored for the speakers we have this year. Let me see if I can pull up what we got for you guys. Bear with me here as I share screen our speakers for Anomicon 2025. Why can't I talk? Give you a little sneak peek of what you will see. So, here is just a little taste of who will be speaking at our event. We have Shayna Steingass, who's a marine biologist and television presenter, and she will be speaking about maritime mysteries, haunting, and haunted. Next up, we have Jean and Natalia Stico, and they will be talking about engineering infinity, Earth's first interstellar blueprint. And this talk is going to be super interesting, guys. This comes from the translated private notes left behind by Natalia's father, Soviet-era engineer Valeris Cernohajev. There we go. Pardon me. Revealing a detailed attempt to reverse engineer UFO propulsion using plasma physics, solenoids, and gravitational charge dualism. Oh, man. I can't wait for that one. Next up, we have Nomar Slavik, who will be talking about humanoid encounters and will be giving us a sneak peek at 4 mini documentaries that he has made. We have Tyler Roberts from the Total Disclosure podcast, who's going to be giving a fascinating talk. I just talked to him today. It's going to be all about UFOs and nukes, so that's going to be pretty cool. Next up, we have Alex LeMay, who is a paranormal investigator. She will be giving an interesting talk about the first communications that were ever attempted through a spirit box, a ghost box, and how it wasn't actually a ghost that people made contact with. It was actually extraterrestrials. Next up, we have my good friend and colleague and my boss when it comes to ghost hunting, and that is Paul Kimball, who will be giving a very controversial talk about UFOs. I don't want to say anything more, but I want you guys to tune in. It's gonna turn some heads, that's for sure. And then from the Small Town Monsters crew, we have Alexander Petikoff and Aaron Deese. They will be giving a fascinating talk as well. And that brings us to my 3 ladies over at Haunted Heart and Soul, the television show I'm on. We have Amy Murphy, Kim Moser, and Chelsea Lassell. They will be giving an awesome talk all about ghost hunting and giving you guys a little sneak peek at Haunted Heart and Soul. I cannot wait. We also have Christopher Susi, who's the owner of the Savannah Paranormal Museum. He'll be giving an awesome talk all about the paranormal. And little tidbit, I'm actually curating and creating a UFO exhibit for the Savannah Paranormal Museum. I'm very honored. I'm working on that as we speak, and I can't wait for this talk at Anomicon by Christopher Susi. And last but not least, and by last I mean just what we have so far on the website, is Jack Dreher, who is a clinical counselor and lecturer on mental health, and he'll be talking all about monsters. That's all I know for now. But yeah, Jack's going to be talking all about monsters. But yeah, that's a little sneak peek, guys, of what you can expect at Anomicon 2025. We have many more speakers who I will be announcing soon. Too many. too many. But that's the way Anomicon goes. So yeah, you can learn more about Anomicon happening September 20th at anomicon.com. So there you go, guys. That is Anomicon. And the last thing, nope, two more things. The anniversary of Roswell, the Roswell UFO incident is coming up. There's debate on when the crash actually happened, but a lot of people celebrate it privately or not privately on July 2nd. So on July 2nd, I have two things coming your way. I will be doing a live stream watch along of my CW special, Roswell Mysteries Decoded. So you can watch along with me right here on the YouTube channel, and I will break it down for you guys about the interesting things we came across in our personal Roswell investigation. My co-investigative partner, former Navy veteran Jennifer Marshall, and I, and I'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at that investigation, what we uncovered, and what it means now for the Roswell case. But that's not all. Also on July 2nd, I will be releasing a special podcast omnibus episode about the Roswell UFO crash. This is a collection of every episode of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast that has ever covered the Roswell incident. I cannot wait for you guys to hear it. These are so cool, these omnibus episodes I'm doing now, where I either have a theme or a guest who's come on the show like several times, and I collect it all together so you don't have to go any further but listen to these omnibus episodes. And July 2nd, we will be releasing a special Roswell omnibus. So be on the lookout for that live watch along on July 2nd, happening at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UK time, and we will have a good time watching my special Roswell investigation. And also on July 2nd, the Roswell Omnibus will be coming your way on the Summer in the Skies podcast main feed. Speaking of the podcast, coming up in just a couple hours on your main feed of the podcast, we have the one, the only fan favorite Micah Hanks joining us for a brand new episode of the podcast where we break down everything going on right now when it comes to the Pentagon and UFOs, operators of deception. That's right. We break down the Wall Street Journal articles. And this clip I'm about to show you from the episode was very surprising. Because while a lot of people claim that these Wall Street articles were bombshells and that this information about hazing Air Force people and faking photos and videos that the government did on its own military personnel and out to the public, while we thought that this information was new, our good buddy Micah Hanks reported on this almost a year ago. Let's go ahead and watch this clip from the episode, and we will talk about it on the other side, and we will close things out. So give this a watch, guys.
This takes us back to around the summer of 2009, back when I was a producer in talk radio. I was sitting there one evening, and a gentleman who had served in the 101st Airborne had called in, and he said, I want to tell a story about a UFO. Now, this individual spoke anonymously on the radio, but this person's name is known to me. I do know their military history. I'm still in communication with this individual. They are alive today. And I could, again, vet everything that this individual has said. This wasn't just somebody randomly calling in. And I say that because they used a pseudonym when they were on the air because they didn't want their name going public with this. But I know this individual by name. They called in, they told their story of being briefed about an alleged UFO type program involving an anomalous aircraft, and said that they were shown photographs. And they said that the photographs showed a very convincing UFO, which again, if memory serves, they had described it at the time as looking like a crash of an object. But the briefing they received, again, unequivocally described this as like a UFO type technology that the United States government had acquired. He told that story, and we said, that's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that. And then he hung up. So we're sitting there, the program continues, and being a producer, I'm running a board and I'm taking phone calls. We got another phone call, and this gentleman comes on the line, and he's got a deep voice, and he says, "You're not going to know my name. You're not to put me on the air. This is for your ears only as the producer, but I just want to comment off the air about what that gentleman who called in just had to say." And I said, "Well, I'm all ears. Go ahead." He said, "I served in the military." He said, "And I know exactly what he's talking about." He says, "What this man experienced was not an actual UFO photograph being shown to him. It was a kind of loyalty test. We used that with lower ranking officers to test their loyalty." He said that there were several different versions of that kind of photograph, and there would be a different code that we would put like on the back of each image, and we would show different ones to different groups, and we would tell them that story. And if word got back to us that one of those descriptions had gotten out, we would know which regimen that story had initiated from, and we could trace it back usually and find out who was leaking secrets. And again, how better to gauge whether somebody is leaking secrets than to use a nonsensical, seemingly fantastical story that, again, had actually, because it was fabricated, no actual relevance to national security. So there wasn't any kind of actual danger, but in this way, this guy explained to me young military officers' loyalty could be tested. And to the credit of the gentleman from the 101st Airborne, again, for many, many decades, he sat on this and never told that story, and thereby was probably deemed to be a reliable handler of classified information, even though after many decades, he finally anonymously came forward as a whistleblower and said, "Look, I'm just going to tell you, I saw a photograph and I was briefed about this." So the man on the phone with me said, "That's all you need to know, but I thought you might appreciate that background." And I said, "Sir, thank you very much, and thank you for your service." And he hung up at that point. And so I couldn't do anything with that. I couldn't go on the air and talk about it, but I tucked that away in the mental Rolodex. And I, again, had always thought that was an interesting story. That brings us to last year when, at that time, the still former director, but he had just left AARO, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, was doing a live stream and began talking about the NDAs and fake UFO program aspect that is described in the AARO historical report. And he said at that time, look, we didn't find any evidence that there were real programs. There were fake UFO programs and fake NDAs. And he said, we called out one of those programs in the report. Well, I remember thinking, that's weird. I don't remember reading that in the report. And I went back and I scoured the rather lengthy AARO historical report, did a keyword search on the PDF. At no point in the report was there actually reference to a fake UFO program, a phony UFO program and phony NDAs and hazing of military officers. And so I was a little perplexed by that, but it seems to suggest, and this is what my interpretation was at the time, Dr. Kirkpatrick had apparently been referring to something that had not been in the version of the report that was made available for public consumption. He was referring to something that was in presumably one of the classified versions of the report. And he publicly talked about having, discussed this in the report, just not the version that the public was provided. So I made some inquiries with some contacts of mine, and indeed through channels of communication, specifically colleagues of mine who have been in direct communication with AARO, its science advisor, and others. That individual was able to confirm to me that, yes, AARO was aware of, and again, this is how it was termed during a conversation I had with one of my sources last September. They said, yeah, AARO's aware of a kind of hazing where military officers have been lied to about things. And they said that the Air Force was really embarrassed about it, and that they requested essentially that AARO not mention this in their public report. Now, again, I didn't rush out to try and report this anywhere immediately, but what I did was on an episode of the podcast last October, the Micah Hanks program, I told all this. I told this story, and I said, it seems evident to me that the same story I was told in 2009, first by a serviceman who had been in the 101st, and then a superior officer, not directly having overseen that individual, but someone with knowledge of the same program or alleged program, called in and said that wasn't a real program at all. That was a good match for what my sources were telling me that AARO had found. And obviously, Sean Kirkpatrick had already publicly admitted there was something about a fake UAP program and fake NDAs. He publicly admitted that, but it wasn't in the report. Wasn't hard to figure out, in my opinion. And so I told this story last October on my podcast. Fast forward now to the recent reporting by the Wall Street Journal. And again, not everybody, but there are some people on those ideological extremes that I'm talking about who are trying to say, Wall Street Journal just blindly reported something that AARO told them. How do we know that's even true? There's no evidence of this. Well, in my view, I would have to imagine that AARO has only now found something that I had been aware of back in 2009, although I didn't have the full context for what that meant at the time. But I can certainly look back at that now in light of what AARO has revealed, in which presumably there will be formal comment on in the second installment of the historical report that's forthcoming. I can certainly compare what I learned so many years ago to what I now know and say, yeah, there's a very good likelihood, in my opinion, that it describes the same story. And therefore, logically, I can conclude, Ryan, that AARO didn't make this up. And what they told the Wall Street Journal was not some kind of disinformation created by AARO, as some have tried to claim.
All right. There you go, guys. That is just a small portion of what you can expect on the next episode of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, coming to you in just a couple hours. It is available right now to Patreon subscribers and Apple Premium subscribers. But yeah, Micah Hicks knew about these fake UFO programs and videos and photos. Allegedly knew about this a year prior to the Wall Street Journal and to even AARO, as it were. So interesting nonetheless. We talked about so much more. It was over an hour of conversation, so I highly suggest you guys check out that episode. Dropping in just a couple hours here, UK time. Mike is the best. He honestly is. He's one of the most hardworking people out there. The creator of the debrief. So that guy is just always pumping out quality content over there at thedebrief.org. So be sure to check that out as well. A lot of our science stories come from the debrief, and they're incredible science journalists over there. So yeah. That clip just scratched the surface of a very fascinating talk. So be on the lookout for that in just a couple hours. And that's going to do it, guys. Again, please take just a couple minutes to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Head on over there. Do that. I will read your reviews on the next live stream. Help us climb up those ranks over there and get featured on still the largest podcast platform in the world, Apple Podcasts. And you can also leave a rating on Spotify as well. We would certainly appreciate that. If you are just watching here on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, hit that bell to turn on notifications. You'll be one of the first to know when our new videos drop. I have been dropping a lot of the Anomicon 2024 presentations recently to get everyone excited about Anomicon 2025. You can find those right here on YouTube under the Anomicon playlist on this channel. But other than that, I want to give one more special thanks and shout out to Lucy, to Gareth, and to Joseph for the super chats and super stickers. We truly do appreciate those guys. All of your donations over on PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and Super Chat will be going to help fund Anomicon 2025, our free virtual UFO conference for you guys. It's free for you, but it's not free for us to create. And we do like to pay our incredible speakers for their time, talents, insights, and dedication. So yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you so much, guys. I love doing this. I can't wait to be back next Sunday with you to bring you the latest UFO and space-related news and conversation. I'm sure something will happen between now and then that will leave Suzanne and I scratching our heads and wondering, why did we ever get involved with this topic? Why? I kid because I love. I love you guys. Thank you so much. We will put all of your comments up here and your extremely kind accolades up as we close things out here. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Smash that like button. Kurt says yes. Be sure to like and subscribe. Ooh, I am losing my voice, so it is time to go. Time to go. Thank you guys. Thank you as always. Am I forgetting anything? Nope, I'm not. Who wants to go to the U.S. Embassy in Iraq? Let's go knock on the front door. Yeah, you, Suzanne, you're in? Okay, cool. I'll book our tickets tonight. All right. Make sure I got everything queued up here to get out of here. Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys for an incredible live stream tonight. Thank you to Suzanne, as always, for holding it down in the chat. And thank you to all of our regulars, new viewers over on Twitch, over on Twitter, right here on YouTube. We truly do appreciate it. And we will see you next week for another Somewhere in the live stream. But I will leave you, as always, with our mantra here. Keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Have a good night and keep looking up.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.